श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। निधनपतये नमः। निधनपदान्तिकाय नमः। ऊर्ध्वाय नमः। ऊर्ध्वलिङ्गाय नमः। हिरण्याय नमः। हिरण्यलिङ्गाय नमः। सुवर्णाय नमः। सुवर्णलिङ्गाय नमः। दिव्याय नमः। दिव्यलिङ्गाय नमः। भवाय नमः। भवलिङ्गाय नमः। शर्वाय नमः। शर्वलिङ्गाय नमः। शिवाय नमः। शिवलिङ्गाय नमः। ज्वलाय नमः। ज्वललिङ्गाय नमः। आत्माय नमः। आत्मलिङ्गाय नमः। परमाय नमः। परमलिङ्गाय नमः। एतत् सोमस्य सूर्यस्य सर्वलिङ्गं स्थापयति पाणिमन्त्रं पवित्रम्। सद्यो जातं प्रबध्यामि सद्यो जाताय वै नमो नमः। भवे भवेनाति भवे भवस्व माम्। भवोद्भवाय नमः। वामदेवाय नमो। ज्येष्ठाय नमः। श्रेष्ठाय नमो। रुद्राय नमः। कालाय नमः। कलविकरणाय नमो। बलविकरणाय नमो। बलाय नमो। बलप्रमथनाय नमः। सर्वभूतदमनाय नमो। मनोन्मनाय नमः। अघोरेभ्योऽथ घोरेभ्यो घोरघोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वशर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः। तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्रः प्रचोदयात्। ईशानः सर्वविद्यानाम् ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपतिर्ब्रह्मणोऽधिपतिर्ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। नमो हिरण्यबाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्य समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most reverential pranams at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagwan, Shri Sathya Sai Baba Varu. Most beloved Swami, brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. I take this as a privilege to share few of my experiences with all my brothers and sisters from the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences. It has been a rare privilege to me to be serving as a state president and to start the Sevadal activities in the super specialty hospital in Whitefield right from inception. As we just completed the 95th year of the advent of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba, I recall my interaction with Swami for the last 52 years. It was in the year 1968 that Swami willed that I should come to his lotus feet. I distinctly remember 1968 Bhagwan visited along with Sri Kasturiji, the 4 North Karnataka districts in October 68. The 4 districts were Dharwad, the undivided Dharwad district, North Canara district, Belgaum district and Bijapur district. It was a week-long tour, and just before starting, Swami asked Kasturiji, Kasturi, what should we call this tour? What name we should give to this tour? And when he said, Swami, you have to tell, he said, this is a Amarapuriya Ananda Yatre. He called the 4 districts of North Karnataka as Amarapuri. Truly, it was one of the rare occasions, and it was the first visit of Bhagwan to those districts, and Bhagwan could attract thousands and thousands of devotees during those week-long tour of North Canara. My mother was the first devotee from our family. She had darshan of Swami in Dharwad. So also my father-in-law and mother-in-law, I was not married that time, but the would-be father-in-law and mother-in-law, they were devotees of Bhagwan since 1965. But I was studying at that time in the first year of engineering at Manipal. Hence I could not have Bhagwan's darshan at that particular point of time. Soon thereafter, after the birthday in 1968, I had an opportunity to go to Prashanti Nilayam for the first time. I went along with my mother, and I can go on and on because of the first experiences. Now, looking back at the 52 years of my experiences with Bhagwan, or living with Bhagwan, or journey with Sai, to summarize the entire experiences, I have divided into 4 portions. The first part, starting from 1968 to 1978. The second part from 1978 to 1988. The third part is from 1988 to 2011, when Bhagwan moved from the form to the formless. And the remainder from 2011 onwards till now is the 4th part. Now, in the first part, I will just summarize what all happened. I was a youngster who had joined for engineering. I was in the first year of engineering, and in my first interview, Swami blessed me. And needless to say, I went on to score good marks and passed my engineering in 63 with first class with distinction in civil engineering. So Swami took care of my education. In that interview, Swami promised me, as he knew that I did not have father. My father had passed away 2 years earlier. He said, I will look after you as your own father. And till the end, Swami kept up his word. He also promised that I'll perform your marriage. For an 18-year-old boy, I was very shy when he repeatedly asked me, when is your marriage? I said, Swami, whenever you wish. And he said, only after you complete your education. And immediately after I completed my engineering in 73, within 6 months, Swami fixed my marriage, arranged my marriage. By 74, I got married in the Divine Presence. On 18th of May 1974, Swami performed our marriage in Trai, not the new building. There was an old Swami's residence, and behind which Swami used to put a big pandal for the summer course. The summer course only was 2 days away, and on 18th May, our marriage was solemnized in Divine Presence in that summer course pandal. I have a lot of experiences I can share and go on, but I would not like to go into the details, because as I have shared this already in my Samarpan talk and in the interview Tryst with Divinity by Radio Sai. Another thing that happened between 1968 and 78 is Swami named both my sons. Again, I was blessed with 2 sons, as Swami only had willed it and he only blessed them. And then in 77, Swami asked me to come for the summer course. Now, I would like to add one thing here. I must stress here that Swami was planning my entire life from that part onwards. Because in 74, when I got married, and I had decided that soon after, I will go and look for a job in the Middle East, because civil engineers were in lot of demand that time. So I was hoping that Swami will give me permission. So immediately on the same day after the marriage, on 18th May 1974, in the afternoon when Swami was blessing us, I saw Swami's permission. And Swami said, "You are not going anywhere. You stay back in India, stay back with your job." So for the next 3-4 years, I served with an engineering company in Goa, an EPC company, where I could get a lot of experience working in different engineering projects. 77, Swami was very particular that I must attend the summer course in Vrindavan. As you all are aware, Swami used to conduct month-long summer courses for the students from all over India. Those days, Swami will select one boy and one girl from every district of India. Today, as I see, a number of such students who attended the summer course are all office bearers in the Satya Sai Seva organizations and serving Swami. And it was my good fortune, which I did not realize at that time, that 77 Swami insisted that I attend the summer course. The month-long summer course taught me many things. At the end of the summer course, Swami insisted and said that you all should join Satya Sai Seva organizations, and the activities of Satya Sai Seva organization is the only spiritual sadhana that you can take up. It is the simplest possible spiritual sadhana anybody can undertake, and you should take up. So that was the turning point in my life, and he gave a beautiful experience also, which I will not like to go into detail because it will take a lot of time. So 68 to 78, it was totally personal experiences. Swami blessed me, Swami blessed my family, Swami performed the thread ceremonies of my brother, Swami performed my marriage, then he named my children. Then another big thing he did was solve a unsolvable family problem, business problem, which he solved. Before solving the problem, what he did was, he called me and said, "This is the problem you are facing. Why don't you go and talk to a few people, your well-wishers, benefactors, and then try to solve it, resolve it." I went round and round, met many people, many elders for the next 6 months, and at the end of it, I had come to the conclusion that it is not possible to solve the problem. And then Swami called me and said, "Now you went round the whole world trying to solve your problem. I will tell you how to solve it." And he gave the solution. Like a fool, I told Swami, "Swami, this is not the solution. It cannot be solved like this." He was he showed his anger and said, "You just do what I tell you and things will fall in place." Of course, with full faith in Swami, we went ahead, and true to his word, the problem got resolved. Problem got resolved for the better. So what I would like to stress here is, he was planning my life right from the day I reached Prasanthi Nilayam, or maybe even in my childhood days, I was not aware. From 68 to 78 till I joined the Satya Sai Seva Samiti. In 1978, Bhagavan asked me to resign my job and then go and take up the responsibility back home in my native place, Sirsi. So this is the first part of my experiences, 1968 to 78. Between 78 and 88, Swami gave, it was the family interactions also, along with Swami slowly brought me into the organization. As I mentioned, I joined the organization in 1978, and 1980 Swami mentioned to me, "See, you have to be free to do a lot of work, so better finish your responsibilities early." So between 78 and 88, Swami performed the marriages of all my brothers. I have 4 younger brothers and 1 sister. Swami performed their marriages, and he put our business on track. And then suddenly in 1981, 3 years after I joined the organization, Swami sent word to me that you must take up the responsibility of the district president of your district. I was totally new. I did not know how to go about the organization work, but it was Swami's command. And from 1981, I went on doing the organizational work and gained experience. In 1985, it was my very, very great privilege that Swami nominated me as the member of Satya Sai Trust Karnataka. And since then, after that, in 88, suddenly Swami nominated me as the state president of Karnataka. I must mention here that this was all the pre-sankalpa of Swami with one incident. 6 months before Swami nominated me as the state president in January 1988, one group of devotees had gone from Davangere and Swami gave them interview. Even earlier Education Minister Srimati Nagamma Keshamurthy and others were there. Some reference came about me and Swami said, yes, he is my state president. That time there was no talk about nominating me as the state president at all. And within 6 months, and it was totally unexpected for me because I was only 37-year-old. I must mention here what direction Swami gave me that day. So I was not willing because after the bhajan on that particular day, when I was about to return to my native place, I was met by 3 very senior devotees who were managing the central office of Satya Sai Seva organizations. Shri Gopal Rao, who is the former chairman of the Andhra Bank, Shri Hajmadi ji, and Dr. Advi Reddy, who is the father of the Dr. Narendranath Reddy, who is the international chairman now of Satya Sai International Organization, his father. So they called me and they took me to the central office, and then they said that Swami desires that you should take up the responsibility of the state president. I was pretty nervous. I was very reluctant, and I did not know what to answer. I was only telling them that it will be very difficult for me. I did not accept. But they made me wait till afternoon that day, and when Bhagwan called me in his presence in the interview room, and then he asked me, why are you refusing? Then I gave him 3 reasons. And the reply Swami gave is a reply for all of us. First thing I said, I am staying far away from Bangalore, Swami. Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka. I stay about 400-500 kilometers away in a small town. And that is how I find it. I will be finding it difficult to do this work. Swami said, you know Professor Anil Kumar? He doesn't stay in Hyderabad. He is a state president. Then he mentioned about another state president from Kerala, Sri Natarajan, who does not stay in the capital city of that state. So for my sake, you need not stay in Bangalore. In future, you will come for your own reason. He knew that I would further come for my own reason to Bangalore in 1994. He knew that. Then the second thing I said, Swami, I am not experienced, I am very young. Swami said, I am stressing with everybody that you should take up spiritual sadhana when you are young. When you are young only, you must do this work. Even Swami, now we have heard, he tells so many of the students that when you are young only, you should take up this path of spiritual sadhana while doing your work in the material world also. So he stressed on that. And then Swami, I told him there are a lot of elders and I am very young. I have not got any experience. He said, you are only an instrument. Please remember, you are not doing the work. I am doing the work for you. And dear brothers and sisters, please believe me, if I say that for 33 years that I served as a state president, if I have done anything, it will be a big mistake. Every single thing that I could achieve, it was all Swami Sankalpa only, and he only executed. We have to be very pure, sincere, devoted, and become his instrument. Then only he makes you do the work. So that is how 1988 he nominated me as the state president. So between 78 and 88, while he finished all my family responsibilities that I had to complete, he gave me the responsibility of the state organization. And in the third part, between 1988 and 2011, whatever achievement we could make in Karnataka vis-a-vis Satya Sai Seva organizations, it was all inspired and blessed by Swami. With his blessings, between 1988 and 2011, in Karnataka we could set up more than 85 Satya Sai Seva Kshetras and more than 65 Satya Sai Gram Seva Kendras across Karnataka. We could do a lot of other activities. Organization got developed in different districts. There were very few districts which had the presence of the Satya Sai organization way back in 1988. And inspired by Swami's blessings, inspired by Swami's motivation and his encouraging words, I could go around the entire state of Karnataka. I must mention here, when I was a district president, I came to Swami because we had taken up a lot of village development work. And during this village development work, we wanted to set up a rural center in one of the adopted villages. And in my ignorance, I called it as Sai Mandir. I came to Swami to seek his blessings. And I said, Swami, in the village that we have adopted near our Samiti, we want to set up a Sai Mandir. And Swami corrected me. Swami said, Bangaru, don't call them as Sai Mandirs. If it is in a town, you call it as Satya Sai Seva Kshetra. And if it is in a village, you call it as Satya Sai Gram Seva Kendra. And that was a beginning, because at that particular point of time, as I was district president of the North Kannada districts, all the samitis in that districts were in different temples. And conducting samiti activities in different temples had their own restrictions and limitations. I am very happy to inform everybody now that in North Kannada district itself, from where we started this activity, there are 28 Satya Sai Seva Kshetras and Gram Seva Kendras, highest in Karnataka for any district. This is inspired by Swami. And once in 5 years, I used to make it a point to prepare an album and show it to Swami. And I must share my experiences here. Many times when people would go get blessings from Swami, will get doubt whether that is a particular site is suitable or not, things like that. I will narrate only 2 incidents here. When I went for the Bhumi Puja of the Satya Sai Seva Kshetra in Karwar, the district headquarters of North Kannada, that site was not looking very auspicious and good to me. And I asked our coordinators and the Samiti conveners that, have you shown this drawing to Swami and taken Swami's blessings? And they said, yes, we have taken Swami's blessings and Swami has blessed this particular site. I said, okay, if Swami has blessed, let us go ahead. Then I told him, ask them how much money you have in the bank. They said only 5,000 rupees. And dear brothers and sisters, believe me, today as I look back, that Satya Sai Seva Kshetra site in Karwar is one of the most suitable site ever they could get in that particular coastal town. And that 5,000 rupees multiplied, and even after they completed the Satya Sai Seva Kshetra work, the money was flowing in. That is the grace and blessings of Swami. I must share here another Satya Sai Seva Kshetra. I have a story to tell about every Satya Sai Seva Kshetra in Karnataka. But due to paucity of time, I will take only one more. It is in the district headquarters of Mandya district. Mandya, the devotees there had purchased a site to construct a Satya Sai Seva Kshetra. It was given by the deputy commissioner who was a devotee of Bhagwan at that particular time. And because they could not arrange funds and build it, it remained like that, and the whole site got encroached by different people, putting up houses and things like that. So they were helpless, and subsequently as the organization developed, they wanted to set up, they wanted to look for another site. So they went on searching, they came out with proposals of different sites, maybe 4 or 5 sites, and whenever they used to come to Vrindavan, we'll make them sit and seek Swami's blessings. And To our surprise and to our I would say happiness, Swami did not approve any of the sites. Swami said no. He was just reject any site proposal they will bring. And finally, when a politician from that district became the chief minister, through his assistance we could get the entire encroachment cleared, and a beautiful Satyasai Seva Kshetra came up there. That was the Swami Sankalpa. Way back in 60s only Swami had made that site available, and the Sankalpa of Swami was there only. I will add only one more instance of Dharwad. In Dharwad, for a Mahila college, Swami made he made available 10 acres of site. He was very, very particular that a Mahila college should come up like Anandpur. We all are aware that 1969 Swami started the first educational institution in Anandpur for the Mahilas, for the girls. So Swami was wanting a similar institution in Karnataka, and Swami chose Dharwad. But due to some reason or the other, though the Mahila college started there, it could not develop to its full potential. The 10-acre site was we could not develop it. It was largely due to the mistake on our part, I would say. And finally, for everything Swami says, there has to be a proper time. And the time for that institution came after Swami's Mahasamadhi, when we approached the Satyasai Central Trust, requested them to take over the entire 10-acre site and develop the infrastructure. I must mention here, and I must thank all the trustees of the Satyasai Central Trust to come forward to take up that site, and they have handed it over to the Satyasai Educational Trust in Karnataka to run that institution. I must add here with a lot of happiness that we have one of the best infrastructures that the Satyasai Central Trust has given us, and it is soon going to be one of the best educational institutions. We already have more than 1,000 children studying in the school there, and the pre-university classes and the college. So this is Bhagwan Sankalpa. It may happen any time, but we have to be very patient and we have to wait, because many times we have heard Swami saying wait, wait, wait. And this is all I must want to add what happened between 1988 and 2011. And post 2011, it is all the journey from form to formless. We are experiencing Swami at every single moment. We feel his presence. I must tell here, when I want to add few of my experiences between 2011 and 2020, I must, with special emphasis on the Satyasai Super Speciality Hospital, my experiences that I gained. The first of my experiences with all the medical activities and the medical institutions was in 1991. Bhagwan had already declared that the first Satyasai Super Speciality Hospital will come up in Prashanti Gram, and it will be inaugurated just before the birthday in 1991. I remember that day, the then All India President Shri G.V. Satyanarayana ji and World Council Chairman Shri Indulal Shah called me and told me that tomorrow morning is the inauguration of the Satyasai Super Speciality Hospital. There is lot of floral decoration to be done. You please take your team from Karnataka and go and do it. When I went there, I could not believe that the hospital is due for inauguration next day morning. This is the previous afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when I went there. Of course, we were working round the clock till late night, 3 o'clock in the morning. We were doing the floral decoration while watching the people working inside the hospital. Still tiles were being laid, finishing touches were being given, lot of equipments were being moved. Things were happening at a very, very brisk pace, but being an engineer, I could not believe that it is possible to inaugurate that building next day. In such was the situation. So 3 o'clock we completed our duty, went back to the room. Then to our surprise, and it was a blessings from Swami, I got a pass. I said, as a state president, you have the privilege to attending the inauguration inside the dome of that super specialty hospital. And that day, when Bhagwan came along with the Prime Minister, Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao, and all the state presidents, trust conveners, and overseas different national presidents were there, it was a wonderful privilege for all of us to be there and attend the ceremony. I was thinking yesterday afternoon when we had a look at these premises, I never believed that it will be inaugurated next day. And that particular moment, everything was ready. And that is Bhagwan's Vajra Sankalpa, how things fall in place. And rest is history. We all know that the first operation was also conducted on that particular day itself of the inauguration. Now coming to the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences in Vrindavan, here in Bangalore, we were aware that Bhagwan has made available this 52-acre site, and the super specialty hospital is going to come up here, and any day Swami will come here and for the Bhumi Puja. So one day I had just returned in the morning from a tour of some district after the organizational tour. Morning 6 o'clock when I reached, early morning, I got a phone call saying that Bhagwan has said that he is not coming personally, physically for the Bhumi Puja. And he said, he has indicated about I think 6-7 persons that you must attend and participate in the Bhumi Puja. And I had the privilege of being one of them. So I immediately got ready and rushed to this site for the Bhumi Puja. All the while I kept thinking, why Swami would have selected me. The answer I came to know only in 2001 after the inauguration was over. Because as a state president of Sathya Sai Seva organizations, we had to take up this seva for the next 2 decades. I had to do it. That is how probably this privilege was given to me by Swami. We were all felt very blessed that Swami chose us to be part of the Bhumi Puja on that day. After the inauguration of the super specialty hospital here in 2001, Swami called us and he told me that now onwards the entire seva activities in the super specialty hospital the Karnataka state should take up, and you please do not send the seva dals to Prashanti Nilayam. As we are all aware, right from 1986-87 onwards, all the states started sending the Sevadal members from different states in a nationwide roster and take up the seva in Prashanti Nilayam. I had the privilege of conducting this seva in Prashanti Nilayam right from 1988 onwards till 2001, when Bhagwan ordained, Bhagwan instructed that all the Karnataka Sevadals should serve here in super specialty hospital. I still remember Bhagwan's divine words. He said, you please make available only 100 sevadals, both gents and mahilas together, in the super specialty hospital. So Swami only fixed everything, and I was wondering, I did not think for a second moment also as to whether it will be possible or not, because Swami's Sankalpa is Vajra Sankalpa, and if Swami has willed it, it is going to certainly happen. This is what I knew for sure. I went back to Parthi for Shivratri that year. Our seva in Prashanti Nilayam was going on because as per the roster, we were serving there at that particular time. And Swami had spoken to some of the sevadals and found out that they are from Karnataka. And then he said, I have instructed your state president not to come here. Why you people have come? So I reached Prashanti Nilayam that day evening for Shivratri, and when Swami asked me about this particular thing, I mentioned to him, Swami, this is the last batch of ours as per the roster, and from next month we will be taking up only in Bangalore. And Swami was very happy. And in the All India meeting, the then All India President Shri V. Srinivasan sir asked me, Mr. Dhakappa, Swami has said that you people should take up the work exclusively in Bangalore. is it possible? We thought that there should be an all India roster, and I only answered that if Swami has willed it, if Swami has mentioned it, it is going to happen. And even today, when I look back and think about it, every Saturday, Sunday, when the duty roster changes, we have a district roster for every weekend. Sunday, the new batch takes over. We used to be very apprehensive whether we will be able to get 100 brothers and sisters from different states, different districts, and from Bangalore city. And I must mention here that for the most of the time, I would say 97-98% of the time, people have come and they have served here. It is Bhagavan's Sankalpa. It is not due to our effort. And as I went around different parts of Karnataka state, I realized how Swami was inspiring people to come here. I will give only one or two examples. There are two elderly people whom I know very well who still come for duty, and they said that they had some eye problem and there was some surgery, and they went and sat before Swami and prayed, Swami, if I get cured, then I will go and do the seva. Just like people take a vow, people even now for their material problem getting solved, they take a vow that they will come and serve here. So even today, I still wonder how month after month, week after week, people from far off places like Gulbarga, Bidar, Belgaum and North Canara, they travel more than 500-600 kilometers, spending their own money, they come and stay here and serve. One thing the Satya Sai Seva organization has taught all the Sevadals is that this is a biggest possible spiritual sadhana to realize the inherent divinity in each one of us. And that is how they take up this sadhana. I must mention here, in 2011, after Swami's Mahasamadhi, there was a big apprehension whether people will continue to come for seva. And that time, we office bearers of Satya Sai Seva organizations in Karnataka organized lot of devotee meets in different districts to motivate people and to see that the seva goes on smoothly like before. But I must admit here that people, devotees at grassroots level are a very, very committed devotees. For them, Swami is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. He is always there with them, and they never restricted their thought process or devotion to only the physical form of Swami. I must mention here that number of Sevadals whom I came in contact with never had a single darshan of Swami. Many of them admitted they never got Padnamaskar from Swami. Many of them hardly had any one or two interviews with Swami. But the commitment with which they continue to come and serve Swami is without any parallel anywhere in this world. Such an arrangement you cannot see anywhere. The duty rosters that is set up and the Sevadals that come for duty, whether it is in Vrindavan, in Super Speciality Hospital in Bangalore or in Prashanti Nilayam, is a arrangement which has no parallel anywhere in this world. This is what I certainly believe. And now coming to this hospital thing, Swami blessed us with 100 Sevadals. I remember what happened subsequently when the general canteen was started here in the Super Speciality Hospital. Brother Krishna Kumar, who was in charge of the finance controller here in the Super Speciality Hospital, he approached me and he said, because we are starting a general canteen, we will be requiring 8 more Sevadals. So make it, instead of 100, 108. I only told him and the administrative manager, Shri Shirali, that if Swami permits, we'll definitely work in that direction and make an arrangement. When they went to Swami, what Swami said, all of us must always remember. Swami told them, you see, Sevadals, they come as and take up this duty as their spiritual sadhana. It is your duty and responsibility to look after them very well. You should see that they should be made very comfortable. They should take up this duty as a seva sadhana. This I always believed, and right from beginning when we started the seva way back in 2001, we wanted all the sevadals who come here for duty, they have to be very comfortable doing their seva sadhana, for which two things are very important. One is the food arrangement for them, and second is the accommodation. Now, regarding the food, we thought that we should have our own arrangement from the organization and the state trust, and Swami blessed that endeavor also. And though initial days we had a lot of difficulty in setting up our own canteen, of course with the help and assistance of the Satyasai Central Trust, they made us available the premises, renovated and gave us. We could start the Sevadala mess from thereafter. And initial days it was very difficult to meet the costs, to make both ends meet. But I must admit here, with divine blessings of Swami and with his divine sankalpa, all devotees from across Karnataka and especially few devotees from Bangalore joined hands, and since then it has been a very, very smooth thing. And today I must admit here, with divine grace and blessings of Swami, all the sevadals who come for duty to serve here, they have a very, very good homely food which they make their work more easier. And second thing I must add here, though for the Mahila Sevadals, our sisters, the dormitory was built right in beginning. For the gents dormitory, it was not ready in the beginning, because when such a big project getting executed, few smaller works get remained. So one of the work that remained was the gents dormitory, which kept pending. However, we had started from the makeshift building which was at the entrance of the gate 4, which was modified and renovated, and it was being used. During the 2 decades, even when Bhagwan was there were many efforts to see that a permanent arrangement is made. I remember a particular moment in Vrindavan when one devotee came with a full check contribution to make this happen. Swami did not even look at him, did not even bless the proposal. So finally it had to happen only now, after Swami's Mahasamadhi, with the assistance of Satyasai Central Trust. A beautiful gents dormitory also has now come up, and the gents Sevadal are also now very, very comfortably able to stay here and take up this Seva Sadhana. These are things which Swami made us available to us during the course of our Seva activities over last 2 decades. I must mention and add here 2 more activities or projects which Swami was very keen that we should take up. The first one was Satyasai Holistic Rehab Program. Now various states are also taking up the Satyasai Holistic Rehab Program about the patients who get discharged from the super specialty hospital here. What is the condition of those patients, whether they follow the medical plan they have been given, whether they take up the medicine, how they are managing it, and things like that. When Dr. A.N. Safaya called me and discussed this, we said we will definitely take up with the blessings of Bhagwan, and with Swami's blessings. When we started, we initially took up all the 3,000 or 4,000 cardiac surgeries that were already completed by that time, and we could all call them at different district level camps and looked after them, took care of them, and that is when we realized the purpose of this program that Swami had blessed. Because number of patients who got treated here free because of Swami's grace and blessings, got their ailments treated, could not follow up the medical regimen. They could not take up medicine due to the paucity of funds. So we could meet them, get them checked up, and then in the needy cases, we could also provide medicine to them. Now, this activity has already expanded to different states of India, and Satyasai Holistic Rehab Program has been being conducted very, very regularly. It is helping such patients who are in need of such facilities immensely. I must add here one more activity which Swami blessed, or the counseling department. Both Srimati Geeta and Sri Umesh Rao and myself could approach Swami and seek his blessings to start a counseling department. And we chose initially about 23 Mahilas from our spiritual wing, who were all based predominantly in Bangalore. They are all from the well-placed, very good devotee families, and they voluntarily came forward to take up this counseling work. Every one of you already know how immensely it is useful to the patients, this counseling when they come into the hospital for their treatment, and counseling when they get discharged and go back to their respective places, how this counseling helps them in great measure. So this activity was also was taken up by the organization. Now, I would like to add two experiences of mine related to the medical activities. See, Swami is always said, providing drinking water, providing free medical aid, providing free education, these are the things, these are the sevas that one should always take up. So in Karnataka, we were conducting lot of medical camps, lot of general medical camps, village adoption work, helping people with some surgeries, things like that. We had not been able to take up in a big scale. I remember how Swami inspired and got it done. 2018 was the year when Bhagwan's visit to different districts, we had completed 50 years. The Golden Jubilee anniversary of Bhagwan's visit to various districts, which I mentioned earlier, were all started in 2018. So when they were planning this Golden Jubilee anniversaries, the district presidents were coming and discussing with me. I must share one such experiences with you all. From North Canara district, when Bhagwan's only visit to North Canara was in 23rd and 24th October 1968, they wanted to celebrate the Golden Jubilee in 2018. I was in Prashanti Nilayam during Guru Purnima. I discussed with them. I said, when we are celebrating Golden Jubilee of Bhagwan's visit to the district, it is not enough if we make only a big program, some few talks, and then give some prasadam and send away. We must take up a project which will be permanent in nature, which will be beneficial to the society at large. I said, why don't you think of setting up a medical facility, permanent medical facility, or some mobile medical clinic, or things like that. So after the Guru Purnima, they joined me in traveling back to Bangalore. We were all traveling together, four of us, and I was telling them that this is what they should think about. And they were also more inclined, sir, if Swami wills, we'll take up such an activity. And we halted on way for breakfast in between near Chikballapur. And when we were sitting there, walks in a great devotee of Swami who have been helping the organization in different states with medical facilities. The Prashanti Trust from the United States of America, Dr. Ravi Dabir, he walked in. He is brother of Dr. Sundaresh Dabir, who was the director of the super specialty hospital here. And he said, Mr. Dhakappa, I wanted to meet you yesterday. We want to make available one medical bus to your state if you are interested. See, brothers and sisters, we have just 5 minutes before we have decided on taking up a big medical project in that district as part of the Golden Jubilee function, and next moment comes a devotee of Bhagwan and offers it to us. And later on, I must add here, the funds they made available were only enough to make the modification for the bus and things like that and to setting up. But Swami Sankalpa is something beyond our imagination also. When we were wanting to buy a bus from Ashok Leyland for this project, and they came forward and said, "You are doing such a big work, we are giving this bus free to you under our CSR scheme." And they only directed us to one bodybuilding agency with whom they had tie-up, Ashok Leyland had tie-up, that the whole project we could complete within the funds available in the state trust. And I must mention here that it is Bhagwan Sankalpa that such a big medical activity could be started in a very, very remote forest district. Why we chose North Canara district is a forest district. And they have the highest number of samitis and bhajan mandalis. If you go to the nooks and corners of that particular districts, in the hilly areas, in remote areas where there are a lot of scheduled tribe and Adivasis live there, there are medical facilities are very meager. And because of this Swami's grace and Swami's blessings, we could take up this medical project. And I must mention here that bus was brought here in this own premises, and with Swami's blessings, all the arrangements were made and subsequently taken to Parthi for Swami's blessings before taking it to Karwar. This is one thing I must add here, that if we take one step forward, Swami always takes 10 steps forward. It is always the first step which is more important. Swami says, unless you take the first step, I will not take the 10 steps. And another thing I must add here, that while we are negotiating and executing this particular work, inspired by this, another devotee from Bangalore said, he came and told us that in case you want to have medical facilities in all districts of Karnataka, for every district I will give you a small medical eco van, Maruti van. And he has already made available to us 14 of such vans, which are now operationals in different districts, main districts where medical activities are very, very actively taken up. And it is immensely benefiting large number of devotees, larger number of people, poor people in those districts. So I must mention here that it is always Swami Sankalpa that works. We have to only take the first step forward. And I must add and mention here that one of the biggest privileges I consider it, because as a state president, one of the major responsibility of mine was to go around entire district, travel, motivate, talk to people, inspire people, start more and more samitis and bhajan mandalis, so that Swami's message reaches nooks and corners of the state and people take up this spiritual sadhana. So starting of the samitis, starting of bhajan mandalis was the primary responsibility of every state president. And I must mention here a very, very rare privilege of mine. When Bhagwan instructed me, Bhagwan asked me to start a samiti in this very, very premises of Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences in Bangalore. I still distinctly remember I was on a tour of Bijapur district. It was in the year 2010. It was around possibly middle of January, around 15, 16 or around that time in January. I was on a tour of Bijapur district. I still distinctly remember that day. Morning I had a big program of addressing the office bearers, talking and discussing with the office bearers. And post lunch I had, because we have two schools there, one in Bijapur and one Bagalkot, I had to talk to the office bearers of the management committee of those two schools. I had to talk to the teachers, and it was an entire day long full schedule. At the end of the day, around 8 o'clock, when we were about to have our dinner and reached a particular place where we were scheduled to have dinner, I get a phone call from Brother Satyajit from Prashanti Nilayam. And he asked me, Mr. Dakappa, where are you? Swami wants to know. I told him I am in Bijapur district. I had come on his tour and all that. And then he said, if you are free, I have a message for you from Swami. I said, yes, definitely, I am free now. Please convey the message from Swami. Whatever Swami has to convey is top priority for us, because it is a privilege. I couldn't imagine that in such a far off place in Bijapur, I get a message directly from Swami. And he mentioned to me, Swami is very particular that you should immediately start a Satyasai Seva Samiti in the premises of the Satyasai Super Speciality Hospital in Bangalore. I said, certainly I will do it once I return day after tomorrow, because next day I had a very big program of a devotees meet in another taluka of Bijapur district, their anniversary, where normally more than 1.5 to 2,000 people attend. So I took Swami's permission that I will complete that program and then travel back to Bangalore and then start the process of starting the Samiti. So next day also, we always know, all of us know, that whenever Swami decides on something, he always would like to have it as early as possible. So I remember next day morning I went to that place called Malingpur, attended that entire program, had prasadam there, and I was traveling back to Bijapur. Suddenly Brother Satyajit called me. It was, I remember, afternoon around 4:30. And he said, Mr. Dakappa, Swami is about to go to Sai Kulwant Hall because there was a program by the staff and the students of the Satyasai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences from Bangalore that day. It was, I think, an anniversary day, which you all, every year you all go and celebrate in Prashanti Nilayam. And before going, Swami wants to again tell you that tonight when you start back and tomorrow you reach, the first thing you must do is to start planning for the Samiti in the Super Speciality Hospital. And I assured him that that is the first thing I'll be doing once I reach Bangalore. And as Swami willed it, as Swami Sankalpa, next day morning, the first thing I did was, once I got ready, I came to the Super Speciality Hospital and I met the director, Dr. Hegde. A.S. Hegde was the director. I met the administration manager, Shri Ashok Shirali, and our brother Praveen. All of us were there together, and I told them, this is the decision, Swami, this is the instruction I have received from Swami. Though they welcomed it, they had wanted to discuss it, the modalities and things like that, and when to do it. I told him I would like to start it as early as possible, and they said they will get back to me, Dr. Hegde, because Dr. Hegde was to go to, I think, Prashanti Nilayam within a day or two. He said he will take Swami's blessings and then we can start it. So, having got assurance from them, I was returning back, and when I was just going out of the campus, I get again a call from Brother Satyajit. He said, Swami is asking me to check with you whether you have discussed and what is the decision you have taken. You know, Swami was so particular and so insistent. Then I told him that I had a discussion with Dr. Hegde and all others, and they have decided, and Dr. Hegde will be visiting Prashanti Nilayam within next 1 or 2 days, and he will be also talking to Swami. Then I get a message from him. Swami says, which good day you have selected? And I had not decided. Suddenly a thought came to me, because next within 2-3 days was the Ratha Saptami day. I think that year happened to be 22nd of January. Ratha Saptami day is a very good day which Swami used to always mention. I remember I told Brother Satyajit I would like to do it on Ratha Saptami day. And then he, I think, probably informed Swami, and he said, Swami has said, go ahead, you open the Samiti on the Ratha Saptami day. And then I mentioned to him, unless director has to meet Swami and get the clearance, then only I will make arrangement from my side to start the Satyasai Seva Samiti. Then he said, okay, before tonight, both of you will get instruction from Swami. And as Swami had willed it, that day in the night before 8 o'clock, I got a message, and Dr. Hegde also got a message, that on 22nd of January, Ratha Saptami Day, Satya Sai Seva Samiti must be started in the super specialty hospital. I am insistently, repeatedly telling this because this is the only Samiti in my entire career as a state president which Bhagwan instructed me to start. He was so very particular that I must start, and even today I consider it as a very, very rare privilege to me, because no other state president would have got this privilege of getting instruction from Swami to start a Samiti. They would have got instruction for doing some project or doing some activity, but starting a Samiti in a particular locality, probably this is a very, very rare occasion. That is what my belief is. And I must mention here, on 22nd, as Swami Sankalpa would have it, the Samiti was inaugurated, office bearers were fixed, and Swami was very eagerly waiting to meet these office bearers in Prashanti Nilayam. My experience sharing will not be complete unless I mention that. I think within a week, all the office bearers of the Satya Sai Seva Samiti in the hospital, they went to Puttaparthi to meet Swami. Swami was so eagerly waiting that Swami told all of them to come to Yajur Mandir only. And before going out for darshan that day, Swami came out, spoke to each of the office bearers that were selected for the Samiti, and he went through the entire album. Even today when I remember, because all the office bearers, when they came back, they shared with me their experiences on that particular day, and when I remember it, I get very emotional, because they mentioned to me that Swami was going through the album one by one, each page by page, and Swami was seeing the director, Dr. Hegde, inaugurating the Samiti, lighting the lamp, our trust convener then, our elderly devotee, Sri Gangadhar Shetty, he was also there lighting the lamp in all that, And when Swami saw my photograph that I was addressing, to that photograph, Swami lifted his hand and blessed, it seems. And when they narrated it to me, I literally wept. Even when we are not physically present, in our own absence, Swami remembers us, Swami keeps guiding us, Swami shows us his way. Swami, once he decides to use us as his instrument, he sees to it that we are the worthy instruments. Brothers and sisters, I must add here, in this 10 years post Mahasamadhi, I never felt Swami's physical absence. Rather, I would say we could do very big programs. I must add here that twice we had Mass Upanayinam program in Sai Kulwant Hall. Each time, more than 700 and odd Vatus were blessed. It happened in 2012 and again in 2018. So twice we had this lot of Golden Jubilee programs, Vrindavan Golden Jubilee programs, and my experience sharing will not end. A specific instruction from Swami that I got in 2012, 1 year after Swami's Mahasamadhi. One day in the night, Swami comes in my dream. I get very few dreams of Swami. That particular day, Swami came in my dream and said, "Look, way back in 1977, I made you come to the Samiti. I made you come for the summer course in Vrindavan. You attended the month-long program, and then your organizational activities started. It is your duty to conduct a similar summer course in Vrindavan. This is my wish. This is my, blessings are there. You please do it." I was very, very puzzled when I got up in the morning, conducting a summer course without Swami, by ourselves. I could not think of. I did two things. I prayed to Swami and I called our trust convener, Sri Gangadhar Shetty sir. I told him, this is the instruction I have received last night from Swami, and how do we go about and what should we do? And he said, look, Dakappa, doing a summer course will need at least 25-30 lakhs or maybe less or more. And our trust, we do not have so much funds as of now at that particular moment. I said, I do not know, sir. Swami has willed it. Money will come. Let us make our efforts. That is what I requested him. And he wholeheartedly agreed and supported. And then I went to the Vrindavan campus. I spoke to the director, Shri Sanjay Sani. I thought that only when the organization and the university we get together, we can conduct this summer course the way Swami would have wanted us to conduct it. And he also readily came forward. He said, I will speak to the Vice Chancellor, and with his consent. Of course, when Swami had willed it, everybody gave consent. The Central Trust gave consent, the Vice Chancellor gave consent, our All India President gave consent. With everybody's consent, approval and blessings of Swami, the entire 5-day summer course was attended by more than 1,000 boys and girls from all parts of Karnataka, and it ended in such a successful note. At every moment there were challenges, at every step there were challenges. One or two, and we could feel Swami's presence. At every moment we could feel his presence. At that particular point of time in the summer month, there was a lot of water shortage in Vrindavan. And Brother Bhotia, who is the custodian, and Brother Vinay Kumar, who is and the committee members, Shri Janki Ram and others, who were the Vrindavan Management Committee convener and other members, they all said we'll all work together and try to make things work. But water shortage was on something which we are not able to, get over, or we are feeling very much worried. But I must tell, with Swami's grace and blessings, when the summer course ended, we still had the full overhead tank full of water still left with us. And this is the way Swami used to bless any project that he wants us to take up. Two more small incidents I will add before I conclude. One particular day, few devotees came and told me, how can you arrange a menu without an ice cream? Some people have a lot of memories of attending summer courses in Swami's physical presence. And they said, unless there is an ice cream, Swami will always give an ice cream whenever there is a summer course for all the students. We kept thinking it will add to our cost, and 1,500 ice creams we have to arrange. And that particular moment, my education coordinator, Srimati Sucharita ma'am, comes to me and says, all our alumni girls from Anandpur, they want to help us in this summer course and they want to provide ice cream. There is no time gap at all. We are thinking something and immediate response comes from somewhere else. And the last day, Mr. Bhotia came up with a suggestion. Brother Dakappa, Swami used to always give big mangoes before they all go home at the end of the summer course. I said, please do not add to our cost. We cannot arrange another 1,500 mangoes now, Bhotia sir, so let us complete with whatever we have planned. Brothers and sisters, you will not believe, within next 1 hour, a devotee comes there and delivers to Mr. Bhotia 1,500 mangoes. Whatever we thought we wanted to do, the way Swami himself would have physically done, Swami was there. At every step we felt the presence of Swami. And this is, I just gave the example of the summer course. It is happening with regard to every program that we are now planning, every program that we are now executing, we feel Swami's presence. This, we should have firm faith in Swami when he said that I am always with you, in you, around you, always with you together, and I am the only friend you have. Please hold my hand, walk with me, and I will take you to the final destination. I still remember, I would like to add here, 2011 Swami's, when Mahasamadhi happened, all of us were literally shattered because we were so much attached to the Swami's physical form. After coming back from Prashanti Nilayam, for almost 2 weeks, I was sitting stunned, quietly at home, not doing what to do and all that. I must certainly add this experience because this will motivate everyone. I was sitting along with my wife, trying to remember, and during those days, we remembered so many sentences of Swami which we had forgotten or overlooked. For example, during my naming of my son, elder son Madhukar, when he was continuously crying before Swami named him, Swami looked at me and told my mother, "See, this boy, your grandson, is crying so much, but at his age, your son was so very quiet." A casual statement Swami had made in that interview which we had forgotten. Post Swami's Mahasamadhi, I suddenly remembered. And it meant, even when I was a 3-month-old child, Swami was looking after me. It is not that when I came in physically in 1968, Swami was taking care of me. Even when I was born, since that date, and not only that, maybe in last many births, Swami has been looking after us, and he will look after us in many more births also. And when we are discussing such things, both myself and my wife, I must mention here, suddenly I saw 2 sparrows sitting on the balcony railing. I have never seen, for the last 15 years now, I have been living in Whitefield, in the apartment that I live in, the Jagrati apartments in Ramgondanhalli. I have never seen a single sparrow. That particular day, 2 sparrows came and sat on that railing of the balcony, and we were just sitting, both of us, and talking and all that. And my wife has been telling, now you should get back to work, you should move, this movement should go on, Swami's work should not stop, you should carry on with this work. And those 2 sparrows were looking. When we looked at them, both the sparrows looked at each other and flew away. That is the only time in last 15 years when I have seen the 2 sparrows there sitting on the balcony. And I felt that this is Swami's, it showed us Swami's presence. And thereafter, immediately I started planning devotees meet in different districts of Karnataka, started moving again to going to the different districts, and rest we went on doing lot of major projects later on, lot of works, lot of seva. This is all part of our sadhana. One thing we must remember, in whatever capacity we are serving in Swami's institutions, we are doing it as our own sadhana. We are not doing it for anybody else. And Swami says, do it for your self-satisfaction. The first year of my state presidentship, 1988, in Prashanti Mandir, Swami had given us 3 directions. He said, you must always, all of you office bearers, people who works in Swami's institutions, should be like Sai Babas. So we are wondering what Swami meant by saying you all should be like Sai Babas. Then he went on to explain, when people meet you, when people come in contact with you, when different places when you serve, you come in contact with different institutions and different people, they all should feel that they have met Swami. So you should be, like Sai Babas. So that was a very big responsibility on all the office bearers. The second thing he said is, always uphold the prestige of the institutions where you are working. Suppose you are working for Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, whether you are working for Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, or whether you are working for Sathya Sai Seva organizations, always uphold the prestige and dignity of this institution. That is of your utmost importance. That's what Swami said. And the third thing, which is a very important thing he said, was, if you do mistake as my representative, then I will have to become a small man. In Kannada, when I say that, Neenu tappu madidre nanu chikkavanaagಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, that means if we do mistake, Swami's name gets spoiled. When people respect Swami as an avatar, they look forward to us, office bearers, how we are conducting ourselves in society. So it puts a great responsibility on all of us to see how we must conduct ourselves. Today, the next generation of devotees who are coming into Sathya Sai organizations or the institutions and all that, they will not have the privilege of meeting Swami physically, but they will be meeting people who have physically seen Swami, who have interacted with Swami, who have lived with Swami, and from us they should draw this inspiration. Very beautifully, one of the office bearers, recently when I retired after 33 years as a state president, he told me one very important thing. he said, you should remember one thing. Your predecessors, all the state presidents before you, they worked only in the physical presence of Swami. And the state presidents who are coming after you, they will be all working in the physical absence of Swami. They will be looking to Swami in the omnipresent form. But your generation, few of you state presidents who are still there, who are serving, who have seen Swami's way of working when he was physically present, who have also know how to work when Swami was not physically present also, you have both the experiences. This is, I think, a very big privilege that we got. We worked with Swami, we knew, so that even when Swami was not physically present, we know in a similar situation what instructions we'll get from Swami. We'll think in that direction, and we ask ourselves, introspect ourselves, if I do this, whether Swami will approve it, whether Swami will like it, whether Swami will be happy by doing this. And that led us to lot of activities which was immensely useful to the society. With Swami's blessings and grace, we started serving Narayan Seva. We started doing Narayan Seva across Karnataka during Swami's Aradhana Mahotsava, and also started serving to the patients' attendants in 2-3 big hospitals in Bangalore. One was the Kidwai Hospital, KC General Hospital, and recently during the COVID-19 in Victoria Hospital also. So Swami has been he continuously inspires us, guides us, and blesses us so that we fulfill the mission for which we have come. I will conclude with a statement. See, when I read Pujya Kasturiji's autobiography, it starts with a sentence. I was born once again in this world to learn how not to be born again and again. And the only way to learn how not to be born again and again is to serve and take up this Seva Sadhana so that you are free from this bondage of birth and death cycle. So I pray to Swami to continuously guide us, bless us, shower His love and blessings on all of us so that we become worthy instruments in His divine hands. I thank all the members of the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences, Director Dr. Shekhar Rao, Brother Praveen, for giving me this opportunity to share few of my experiences with us. It was all of a sudden that 2 days back Brother Praveen called, and I have just come and just shared whatever as Swami has inspired me to share with all of you, and with more emphasis on what he wanted us to do here in the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences. Karnataka will continue to serve in years to come in this Sathya Sai Super Speciality Hospital, and will be beneficial to the patients who will keep coming to these portals of this institution. I once again thank Swami. I express my gratitude to Swami for whatever he has done to me in my life, which may be due to the meritorious act that we have done in last several births. Once again, thanking everyone, I wish to conclude. Jai Sai Ram.
ఒకానొక సమయం లోపల హనుమంతుడు లంకలో విభీషణుని కలుసుకున్నాడు.
Once upon a time, Hanuman went to Lanka and met Vibhishana.
ఇరువురు రామభక్తులే.
Both were devotees of Rama.
ఇరువురు కూడాను రామతత్వాన్ని గురించి చక్కగా ముచ్చటిస్తూ వచ్చారు.
They inquired into the principle of Rama.
హనుమంతుడు ఆనందించాడు. ఈ రాక్షసుల మధ్య ఈ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క రామతత్వాన్ని, రామనామాన్ని స్మరించేటువంటి ఒక వ్యక్తి ఉన్నాడా అని ఎంతో ఆనందించాడు.
Hanuman was very happy to find Vibhishana. Even among the demons, he was thinking of Rama. He was contemplating on Rama.
ఆ యొక్క విభీషణుతో సంభాషణ సరుపుతున్నప్పుడు రాముని యొక్క విషయాన్నంతా హనుమంతుడు చక్కగా బోధిస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ యొక్క విభీషణుని కంటిదారాలు కారుస్తూ వచ్చాడు.
When Hanuman explained during the conversation about Rama, Vibhishana shed tears of joy.
కొంతకాలం గడిచిన తర్వాత
After some time,
విభీషణుడు ప్రశ్నిస్తూ వచ్చాడు హనుమంతుడిని.
Vibhishana asked Hanuman,
హనుమాన్, నీవెంత అదృష్టవంతుడో అయి,
you are very fortunate.
రాముని చెంతనే ఉంటుండి
You are with Rama,
రామ దర్శనమును చేసుకుంటూ
having the vision of Rama.
దివ్యానందాన్ని అనుభవిస్తున్నావు.
You are experiencing divine joy.
కానీ నేను ఎంతో కాలం నుండి కూడాను రామనామాన్ని స్మరిస్తున్నాను.
For a very long time I am contemplating on the name of Rama.
కానీ రామ దర్శనం నాకు ఇంకా ప్రాప్తించలేదు.
But I did not get the vision of Rama.
నా దురదృష్టం ఏమిటో,
What is my misfortune?
కనుక నాకు చేయవలసినటువంటి మార్గం ఏమిటో నాకు బోధించమని చెప్పాడు.
Please teach me what is that I have got to do.
హనుమంతుడు పక్కున నవ్వాడు.
Hanuman laughed aloud.
విభీషణ, ఎంతకాలము నీవు నామాన్ని స్మరించినప్పటికీ ప్రయోజనం లేదు.
Vibhishana, however long you chant the name of Rama, it is useless.
కానీ రామనామాన్ని స్మరిస్తున్నావు.
You are chanting the name of Rama,
రామసేవలో పాల్గొంటున్నావా?
but are you taking part in the service of Rama?
కనుక నామమును మాత్రమే స్మరించినంత మాత్రమే చాలదు.
Just chanting the name of God is not enough.
నామ కార్యమును కూడా నీవు ఆచరించాలి.
You have to do the actions, service to the
10
name.
నెలలైంది సీతాదేవి నీ యొక్క అశోకవనంలో చేరి.
10 months it is since Sita has entered this Ashoka
ఆమె
garden.
ఏమైనా రామ సన్నిధికి చేర్చడానికి ఏమైనా పూనుకున్నావా?
Did you try to take her to Rama?
రామ కార్యములో ఏమైనా కించిత్ మాత్రం ఏమైనా నీవు ప్రవేశించావా?
Did you enter into any service of Rama?
నీకు రామదర్శనం ఏ రీతిగా కాగలదు?
How can you get the vision of Rama?
కనుక నామమును స్మరించినంత మాత్రమే కాదు,
Not just chanting the name of Rama.
నామ కార్యములు యందు కూడా నువ్వు పాల్గొనాలి.
You have to undertake actions regarding the
అప్పుడే
name.
నామము నామి రెండింటి యొక్క ఏకత్వం ప్రాప్తిస్తుంది.
Then only you can find the unity of name and form.
కనుక నామము అనేటువంటి దాన్ని మనం ఈనాడు స్మరిస్తున్నాము.
We are chanting the name.
ఆశ్రమము అనేటువంటి ప్రదేశంలో మనం చేరినాము.
We are residing in the ashram.
ఎందుకోసం వచ్చాము ఇక్కడ?
Why did we come here?
భగవంతుని అనుగ్రహాన్ని పొందే కోసం వచ్చాము.
In order to attain divine grace, we have come here.
ఈ ఆత్మానందమును అనుభవించే కోసం వచ్చాము.
In order to experience the Atmananda, divine bliss, we have come here.
కానీ వచ్చినటువంటి వారు
We have come with this purpose.
నామాన్ని స్మరించవచ్చును.
You may be chanting the name of Rama.
కానీ ఆ స్వామి కార్యములో ఏమైనా ప్రవేశిస్తున్నావా?
But are you undertaking any service of
ఏమి
God?
చేస్తున్నాం స్వామి కార్యాన్ని?
What are the actions regarding Swami you are doing?
స్వామి కార్యం చేయక
Without doing Swami's service,
నామము మాత్రం స్మరించినంత మాత్రమున
just chanting the name of Rama.
ఎన్ని సంవత్సరములు ఉండినప్పటికీ
However, any number of years you may stay here.
తామర పుష్పంపై కప్ప వలె ఉండి జీవించవచ్చు.
You will be like a frog on a lotus flower.
కానీ దూరం నుంచి వస్తున్నాయి తుమ్మెదలు.
From far off distances, the bees come.
ఆ కమలంలోని మకరందాన్ని గోలిపోతున్నాయి.
They take the nectar from the lotus.
ఈ సత్యాన్ని కూడా నువ్వు గుర్తించుకోలేకపోతున్నారు సాధకులు.
The aspirants are not able to recognize this truth.
కనుక ఆశ్రమంలో ప్రవేశించినంత మాత్రమున చాలదు.
Just entering into ashram is not
ఆశ్రమ
enough.
కార్యములలో మనం పాల్గొనాలి.
We have to take part in the
మన
activities of
శక్తానుసారం
ashram.
మనం సేవలు చేయాలి.
Depending on our capacity,
శక్తి
we have to
నుంచి
serve.
చేయమని కోరటం లేదు.
Need not go beyond
ఈ
your
సేవలు
capacities.
కావాలని స్వామి ఆశించటం లేదు.
Swami doesn't desire your service at
నీ
all.
నిమిత్తమే చెప్పేటువంటిది.
It is for your own sake, Swami is saying.
కనుక ఎవరైనా సరే నేటి నుండి
From today onwards,
ఈ
everyone,
ఆశ్రమంలో ఉండినటువంటి వారు
all those who are in the ashram,
వారి వారి శక్తానుసారం పని చేసే తీరాలి.
they have to serve according to their capacity.
కేవలం భోంచేసేది, వరండాలో వచ్చి కూర్చునేది, లైన్ లో వచ్చి కూర్చునేది, ఇంత మాత్రంతో చేసినంత మాత్రం నా ప్రయోజనం లేదు.
Just eating and coming and sitting in the veranda or in the
వారి
lines, it is not enough.
శక్తానుసారం సేవలు చేసే తీరాలి.
According to their capacity, they have
అలాంటి
to
సేవలు
serve.
చేయనటువంటి వారు మందిరం నుంచి బయట పోవాలి.
Those who are not ready to serve may leave the mandir.
ఎందుకోసం ఇక్కడికి వచ్చారు?
Why did you come here?
ఏమి చేస్తున్నారు మీరు?
What are you doing?
ఎవరి ఆత్మను వారు సాక్షిగా నీవు విచారించుకోవాలి.
You have to ask yourself.
దూరం నుంచి వచ్చాము,
You have come from a distance.
అన్ని తెగించి వచ్చాము.
You have given up everything and
కానీ
come here.
తెగించి ఏం చేస్తున్నావు?
You have renounced everything, but what are you
కాలాన్ని
doing?
వ్యర్థం చేస్తున్నావు.
You are just wasting time.
ఈ వ్యర్థం చేయటం చాలా దోషం.
Wasting time is a great mistake.
కాలము భగవత్ స్వరూపుడు.
The time is the form of God.
కాలకాల ప్రబంధానం కాల కిమ్న కరిష్యతే. కాలం మానవుని మింగుతున్నది.
The time is actually swallowing man.
కాలమునే మింగేటువంటి వాడు కాలుడు.
But God is one who can swallow time itself.
కనుక కాలుని యొక్క అనుగ్రహానికి పాత్రుడు కావాలి.
We should gain the grace of
కాలాన్ని
God.
వ్యర్థం చేస్తే కాలుడు కూడా నువ్వు అనుగ్రహించడు.
If you waste time, you cannot enjoy divine grace.
చాలా మంది
Lot of people
ఈ విధంగా కాలముని వ్యర్థం చేస్తున్నారు ఆశ్రమంలో.
in the ashram, they are wasting their time.
ఏమైనా చెప్తే సాయిరాం 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 సాయిరాం.
Whatever you tell them, they keep saying
ఇది
Sai Ram,
టేప్
Sai
రికార్డు
Ram.
కూడా చెప్తుంది, గ్రామ్ఫోన్ ప్లేట్ కూడా చెప్తుంది.
Even tape recorder, gramophone plate will chant
నామములు
this.
చెప్పినంత మాత్రమే ప్రయోజనం ఏమిటి?
Just chanting the name is no use.
కార్యములో ప్రవేశించాలి.
We should enter into action.
తట్టలో పెట్టుకున్నటువంటి మసాలా దోశ అంటే పొట్టలో చేరుతా ఉందా?
If you keep the masala dosa in the plate and keep chanting masala dosa,
లేదు,
you can eat
చేతితో
it.
తీసుకుని నోటిలో పెట్టుకోవాలి, గొంతుతో మింగాలి.
You have to take it with your hand, put it into the mouth, and then swallow it.
అదే రీతిగా చేతితో పని చేయాలి,
You have to do actions with your hands.
నోటితో నామం చెప్పాలి,
You have to chant with the nose.
హృదయంతో దీనిని అనుభవించాలి.
And through the heart we have to
ఈ
experience.
మూడింటి యందు నీవు పాల్గొన్నప్పుడే
Only when you have all the three,
అనుగ్రహానికి పాత్రమవుతావు.
you can get divine grace.
క్షీరాబ్ది శయన నారాయణ, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన నారాయణ, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన శ్రీలక్ష్మీ రమణ నారాయణ. నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ, నారాయణ నారాయణ శ్రీమన్నారాయణ, నారాయణ నరహరి రూప నారాయణ, నరహరి రూప, నరహరి రూప నారాయణ, నరహరి రూప వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస, వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస వైదేహి మోహన నారాయణ, హే వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస వైదేహి మోహన నారాయణ. నారాయణ లక్ష్మీ నారాయణ, నారాయణ లక్ష్మీ నత జన పరిపాలన నారాయణ, నత జన పరిపాలన క్షీరాబ్ది శయన నారాయణ, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన నారాయణ, క్షీరాబ్ది శయన శ్రీలక్ష్మీ రమణ నారాయణ. నారాయణ లక్ష్మీ నారాయణ, నారాయణ నారాయణ శ్రీమన్నారాయణ, నారాయణ నరహరి రూప నారాయణ, నరహరి రూప నారాయణ వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస వైదేహి మోహన నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస నారాయణ, వైకుంఠవాస వైదేహి రమణ నారాయణ. నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ, నారాయణ నరహరి రూప నారాయణ, నరహరి రూప నారాయణ క్షీరాబ్ది శయన